Ladies and gents, boys and girls, we are back. What is going on Thursday, February the 16th, 2023? Appreciate you all tuning in. Of course, as always, I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Very excited to chat with each and every single one of you today. We are taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. 843-790-3377. I see John Edward, Panic Ritter, Travis Allen, Bruin Nation, Stephen Boyle Jr., Justin Langford, Xavier Gadd, Elizabeth Ballard, Noah Johns, James Kendall. What's up, DGD? What's going on, my friend? Appreciate you tuning in. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel, to be sure that your questions are answered there. Again, guys, very excited to be back in studio after the brief hiatus earlier this week. We had an absolute blast, by the way, on the ski slopes. Had a really, really good time. It was a fantastic getaway. But I have been itching all week long to get back in studio because, of course, today it is opening day eve as the 2023 baseball season gets underway tomorrow at Founders Park, and we get rolling this weekend into this season. Again, guys, thank y'all so much for your patience with us this week, being away from TDC. And it's truly, guys, I'll say this, I'll start here. It's a blessing that, when you're doing something in life where I feel so fulfilled and so excited to come back to it, right? Being away a couple of days, it was a great opportunity to detach, to take some time to do some different things and enjoy ourselves. And like I said, skiing was an absolute blast. We had a great time, got to see lots of snow. Was beautiful, truly beautiful, and a great getaway. But to have something, what we do on a day in, day out basis, to have something where, TDC, I truly missed it. I truly missed doing it, and really excited now to be back in this chair and be back with you all, and just really, really pumped to be talking South Carolina Gamecocks, talking baseball, basketball, football, everything in between, and just be chatting and conversating, with each and every single one of you. Of course, guys, as always, TDC brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. When you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You can play anything and everything, college sports, pro sports, whatever you want, they've got over at Prize Picks. And guys, so many fans and listeners of TDC, the Spurs Up Show, have made tons of money with our friends at Prize Picks. You should as well. So again, go download the app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use that promo code TSUS to receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Be sure to check them out and just tell them that Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. Again, guys, I am fired up to be back in studio. Feels so good to be chatting with you all once again. I missed you guys. I did. I missed you guys a lot. I know it was kind of weird, right? It's funny. Like, we do the Daily Crow. It's nice to get away and change up your daily routine. I think just to remind yourself, to kind of shock the senses, if you will, and just remind yourself, hey, life exists outside of your routine, right? You can do different things and change it up, and everything will be okay, right? I think sometimes we can get attached to our routines a little bit too much and lose some of that fluidity and lose some of that freedom, if you will, because we get so ingrained in the routines. But I do love my routine. And getting back to it again. I was so excited to get back last night. Of course, guys, podcast dropped this morning. Our first series preview of the 2023 season as I broke down everything for this upcoming weekend against UMass Lowell. Gamecocks will take on the Riverhawks at Founders Park. So definitely be sure to check that out. Episode 760. Also, my brief thoughts on the Court Cocks, what happened on Tuesday night against Vandy, and also looking ahead to this weekend against LSU, at baseball being the main focus, of course, this weekend series. My prediction is out there. I am picking South Carolina to sweep UMass Lowell this weekend. So, again, really, really excited for it. It looks like the notes have actually been dropped on the series this weekend. Let's see. Let's see if UMass Lowell's pitching staff has been. Here we go. Yep. Probable pitchers here. Of course, we all know South Carolina's going with Sanders, Hall, Mahoney on the weekend, or for this weekend, I should say. UMass Lowell will roll out LJ Keevan. The righty will start the game. I thought Keevan was a lefty. Am I mistaken there? Let's see. I don't think they would have gotten their scouting. Maybe my thing was wrong. Okay, so they did get it wrong. I could have sworn, because when I was doing my notes, yes, LJ. So in the Gamecocks online notes, the baseball notes, they listed LJ Keevan, the opening day starter for UMass Lowell, as a righty. He is a left-handed pitcher. I was like, there's no way that I missed that. So anyways, the Riverhawks will go with the southpaw LJ Keevan tomorrow afternoon. On Saturday, they'll roll out Brian Foley, who is a true freshman, 91 and 94, D1 baseball. Talked about him. They are very high on him. And then Matt Draper, who is a graduate righty. That is who they will roll with. He went 3-5 last year with a 3.86 ERA. 8 walks to 32 strikeouts. So it'll be Keevan, Foley, Draper, their probable pitching rotation for the UMass Lowell Riverhawks. Again, going up against Sanders, Hall, Mahoney. Fun fact, guys, Gamecocks are 89 and 41 in season openers. How about that? 89 and 41 in season openers. Hopefully, this weekend and opening day is not as dramatic as last year was. The Gamecocks won 9-7 last year against UNC Greensboro, and I'm sure we all remember that series last year and just how dramatic that was. the flair for the dramatics, if you will, in that opening weekend series a season ago. But either way, guys, really excited to chat with you all, taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377 here on this Thursday. Also, Chuck Dunlap teasing us a bit here on the timeline, talking about standby for SEC football schedule news regarding 2023 football SEC media days. Okay, here we go. Here it is. SEC announces the schedule for 2023 football media days. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, this is when the coaches will speak. July 17th through 20th at the Grand Hyatt in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. So that will be SEC Media Days. Looks like Shane Beamer will speak on the final day, Thursday, July the 20th. It'll be Lane Kiffin, Shane Beamer, and Josh Heupel will close things out. So it'll be a 4-day event, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with Shane Beamer speaking on the final day on Thursday. So really exciting stuff. It's never too early to look ahead. That is your SEC Media Days breakdown, if you will. Again, guys, would love to hear from you. I truly missed all of you, missed conversating with you. It was strange. You know, it's crazy to think. I've told you guys this before, but it's wild to think that at one point TDC did not exist, right? We didn't do the Daily Crow. It was just simply the podcast. And now I sit here and I don't know how I even operated that way, right? I was thinking about this morning. What I love about the live show, what I love about TDC is, with the podcast, there's a certain energy, right? And I love doing the podcast, obviously. But the kinetic energy, right? The kinetic energy that the Daily Crow provides is, I think, truly what makes it special, right? It's the, and that's the best way I can describe it. The kinetic energy of this show. It's just different than the podcast and the randomness of this show and the part that you guys play in it. I truly do love it. So again, I appreciate y'all. Grateful for each and every single one of you tuning in. Thank y'all so much for being here. When we come back, obviously rolling with the punches, and excited, man, because the baseball grind truly begins, and looking forward to getting things going tomorrow. Brian Dean, what's going on? We'll get into your question. Says Chris, with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas, excuse me, do you think we go to 4 pods? I don't think so, Brian. I think Greg Sankey made it very clear. I don't remember exactly when this was, but I think it was a couple of months ago. I think he actually mentioned that they were against that. So I think it'll be 2 big divisions. I think you will see 3 permanent rivals, right? 3 permanent rivals on a year in, year out basis with 6 rotating games. I don't think there'll be pods though, Brian. I really don't. I think it's more likely there's just one big conference and they do away with divisions. I think that's probably what's actually going to happen. So we'll see what happens, but I do not think the pod system is going to be a reality. John Edward, early predictions on which players Beamer will take with him. I mean, I think Spencer Rattler's 110% going. Juice Wells, I think, makes a lot of sense. And then he'll probably – why not take Kai Kroger? Why not take Kai Kroger? If you were going to take a guy on defense – I'd probably say, Who's going to be your veteran leader? Maybe a Mo Kaba could be a good one. Alex Huntley could be a good one. Man, I'm trying to think who else. Maybe I don't think he'd take an Eamon Warrior because I think they take older guys. I don't know. Why not take Kai Kroger though? Why not take Kai Kroger? Anyways, Bruin Nation, we got to get Bama, Georgia, and the Kansas City Chiefs just because we're South Carolina. Yeah, it's funny. I know we all saw Phil Steele's metrics. By his metrics, the Gamecocks have the toughest schedule in all of college football. The toughest schedule in all of college football. So there you go. It's just a tale as old as time, right? It's a tale as old as time for the Garnet and Black. So either way, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377 here on this Thursday. Again, really excited to be chatting with each and every single one of you. Wake up, folks. Wake up. Wake up. We're here. We're rocking. We're rolling. Also, pitchers and catchers have reported baseball season is officially here, ladies and gentlemen. The best time of year, one could argue. Justin Langford, thoughts on Mike Bobo? Got to still be F Mike Bobo. All my homies hate Mike Bobo. Yeah, that was a really, really interesting piece of news that came out while I was out of town. I don't know. I mean, with Georgia, it's interesting because they have so much talent that even Mike Bobo's system could work. He's been the OC there before, but wild. It's just wild to me how coaching truly is the good old boy system. Like, once you're a made man, you're in, right? Once you're a made man in the coaching ranks, you're just in. It doesn't matter how miserably you fail. Like, once you're a made man, you're in, and you're just going to get recycled and tossed around different schools. And that's sort of what the Mike Bobo thing is. It's just like, he's been at Georgia before. He's been an SEC offensive coordinator forever. He's just going to get the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they might even have Will Muschamp as their DC. My God, what a coaching staff that would be if that takes place. Travi says TDC is like your daily news. Truly it is. Truly it is, man. It's awesome. It's awesome for sure. Let's see. Brian Dean, UMass was 22-26 last season. Don't know much about them. Was that their record? UMass Lowell a season ago. Let's see. UMass Lowell a season ago. They were 28-30, actually, my friend. 15-15 in their conference, right? They had wins over Central Michigan, a win over College of Charleston, and they had a win against Boston College. They finished 7th in the country in stolen bases with 134, including 46 from sophomore Jacob Humphrey. This guy, by the way, guys, Humphrey went 46 of 47. 46 and 47. Or 46 for 47. He got thrown out one time, and in that game, he had 4 stolen bases. So I think that's a big storyline in this series, guys, as you think about, you've got new faces behind the dish, if you will. Colin Burgess is out. Talmadge LeCroy probably going to be your opening day catcher, maybe third base. Either way, it's going to be a trio. And again, the big storyline, or one of the big storylines. Let's see. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, cool. We had a post. Okay, awesome. Anyways. Yeah, UMass Lowell, not UMass, my guy. UMass Lowell. Anyways, though, you look at UMass Lowell. 46 of 47. Jacob Humphrey stolen bases last year on a team that stole 134 bags. Good enough for 7th in the country. Anytime you do starting catcher, that is something to keep an eye on. And whether it's Cole Messina, it's Talmadge LeCroy, it's Jonathan French, keeping guys like Humphrey at bay and controlling the running game is massively important, because you might be able to get away with it early on in the season in non-conference, right? It may not burn you, but if the scouting report gets out there that a single turns into an automatic double because your catchers cannot throw anybody out, it is going to absolutely burn you in an SEC play. So, I think defensively, I feel pretty good about what LeCroy, Messina, and French provide. but we haven't seen it yet, right? Colin Burgess was a solid option back there for you last year. In the last couple of years, I thought he did a really good job of controlling the running game, but I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And, I think fortunately enough for South Carolina, I don't know that the Riverhawks are going to get a ton of guys on base because your pitching should dominate. But when they do, being able to limit them, I think it's also on the pitchers as well, right? They've got to be quick to the plate. They've got to hold runners on. They've got to do their part in controlling the running game. But how South Carolina's catchers handle the speed of UMass Lowell, a team that obviously wants to run, and especially when Jacob Humphrey gets on again, he was 46 of 47 in stolen bases a season ago, guys. Those 46 stolen bags, good enough for second in all of college baseball. So the Riverhawks, they do like to run when they get on. I think it's going to be a great challenge for guys like LeCroy, Messina, and Jonathan French over the weekend. Really excited to see how it plays out again, guys. I've got the Gamecocks getting the sweep against the Riverhawks. But, what's fun about series like these is, again, you sort of look at a series like this like football, when you take on a lesser opponent, right? Like you have to be overly critical. You have to, you have to almost overanalyze, if you will, right? You can't just take things at face value, because that's what I did last year. You look at opening weekend last year against UNCG and how much of a struggle it was, right? How much of a struggle it was. You win 9-7 on opening day. You lose game 2, and you should have lost that series. I mean, we all recall what happened in game 3. Andrew Eister hits an improbable grand slam. You win the game on a walk-off to take 2 of 3. But that was unfortunately a sign of things to come, right? Those struggles that we saw over that weekend. I don't think it's good enough to win that way. I just don't. And last year I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Hey, as long as you're winning 2 out of 3, you're not going to be upset. It's all about winning series. That's all that matters, is winning series. You need to make a statement on opening weekend. You absolutely need to make a statement. For what this season, what's on the line, and the pressures on Mark Kingston and on this ball club, I don't think it's good enough to just skate through the weekend. And I'm not sitting here saying that if South Carolina sweeps and it's not overly impressive, that I'm going to be sitting here on a Monday upset about, the way in which you did it. If you sweep, you sweep. But I just think it's so important for this team to get off to a hot start, right? And to flex its muscles a little bit. And more importantly, just build some confidence as you navigate through this non-conference slate, right? Because the biggest thing is this: you want to separate yourself from everything that happened last year. So if on opening weekend we're seeing similar results, we're seeing similar things take place that we saw all throughout last year and all throughout the Kingston era to this point, it's going to have us being very uneasy, even if you win all 3 games. So I think how you win is important this weekend. I think going out, handling your business. I think the pitching is going to do their part. It's all about the hitting, right? Being able to build some confidence, being able to drive the baseball, being able to be productive, move guys station to station, also show off that power, because it's only going to get tougher, as we know, guys. If you can't hit UMass Lowell, you're going to struggle to hit SEC pitching. That goes without saying. So winning and winning big and getting off to a hot start, I think it is imperative for this group to do so this weekend. Let's see. Anyways, guys, want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Let's see. I will say it was nice, though, to step away from social. I was still connected to social media, but to step away for a couple of days. And it's just like the polar opposite of the chaos, the madness, the craziness. To step away for a couple of days, it's like it just felt so good. I'll be honest with you. Felt really, really good. But it's funny to see those 2 polar opposites, if you will. It's funny to see those polar opposites. And again, I love social media, but it is sort of funny, right? How crazy. And it makes you realize, and it really puts things in perspective of just like how silly it all is. You know what I mean? Like when you go out and you actually live real life, it just puts in perspective, like, man, social media is not really that important. Like it's just really not. You know what I mean? And I say that as someone that my business literally is housed on social media, but social media is not real life, right? It's not real life. So anyways, I just think that's kind of funny when you take a moment to step away and view that perspective, if you will. But anyways, guys, really, really excited to get things going. College baseball is officially back. Trying to think of some fun things we could do tomorrow for opening day. Just some special content wise. Of course, we'll be live noon to 2. But just thinking about what I want to do. If you guys have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see, y'all let me know. I know last year, obviously, we were out there grilling, having us a good time. Getting ready for opening day. I don't think we're going to be grilling in the studio, if you will. But I'm going to try to think of some fun stuff. To really kick off the season in the right way, right? To kick off the season the right way. By the way, guys, I know I've teased this before as well. But the live stream watch-alongs will be returning. I think I'm going to wait until I think the Clemson series, the Clemsuck series, I think that will be the sort of the kickoff, if you will, to that. I will expect we will, without a doubt, we will do a live stream watch along for the Friday night game that's at Clemsucks. I will not be there in person. I'd have to be a fool to go to that game. Friday night, we'll do a live stream watch along for that one. I'm not sure about Saturday what we'll do or Sunday, but definitely on Friday. And again, this will be sort of a build up for what I think will probably take place this football season in regards to doing live stream watch alongs for games, doing post game shows, stuff like that. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I will give you guys all the details and all the information when that takes place. But just excited, man, for the content that comes with baseball season and everything that we'll be doing. And really excited to announce, I think I told you guys this a couple of weeks ago, but our good friend AUPPL on social media that has helped us out with those series graphics. He will officially be doing that yet again. I always get so excited when I get the series graphic from him. He'll always email it over to me like late Thursday, and it's always so much fun. It's so much fun to get those series graphics, and I know you guys love them as well. And I truly appreciate AUPPL. I mean, he's been helping me out with those graphics since I think 2018. I know 2019 for sure. So it's been a while. And this is a dude, man, I want to shout him out that, he makes a bunch of cool graphics on social media. He literally just does it for me for free just because he loves doing it. He loves college baseball. And so I'm truly grateful for him, man. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. He'll do streaming schedules and stuff like that. It's awesome stuff, man. So definitely check out his work, AUPPL on social media. And again, those graphics will return. We'll post those every single Friday. Every single Friday morning, we will have your series preview graphics. So looking forward to that. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. You can call that number. You can text that number, whatever you like. It feels so good to be back chatting with each and every single one of you. It feels so good to be back. I don't know where my folks are on the TDC question channel today. I feel like I go away for a couple of days and everybody just gets lulled to sleep. I don't know what's going on. Basketball just has everybody checked out, right? Has everybody checked out? Guys, admittedly, and I said this in the post game for the game on Tuesday night, I did not watch the game, but I want y'all's feedback on this. I did not watch the game. But I get on social media, and my biggest takeaway is and I put this, and I talked about this in the podcast that dropped today. When GG Jackson first signed, everybody was really excited. Of course. Why wouldn't you be? And as the season progressed, I think the excitement only built watching him play and the big performances that he had. But, when I posted the video of GG Jackson's post-game Instagram live, it is what it is, right? It really is not that big of a deal. Now that time has passed, whatever, right? He shouldn't have done it, but it's not something that you hold over his head for forever. But I think when you couple that, right, and I think there were a lot of people that were not a fan of those post-game antics that maybe just didn't speak out, right? You had a vocal minority on social media that, were kind of piggybacking on what GG said. And, of course, he took a shot at TSUS, took a shot at me. No big deal. It is what it is. Middle-aged man with a mullet. I've been called worse by better. No offense. But either way, I've been called worse. I got nothing but love for GG Jackson. It's been fun watching him play all year, and I think he's a fantastic player. But you look at the last two games, right? South Carolina beats Ole Miss. in a game in which he only plays 16 minutes, was basically a non-factor in the ballgame. You then look at Tuesday night, against Vanderbilt. You look at Tuesday night against Vandy. He plays just 12 minutes and has 2 points in that ballgame. And I get on social media, something that really kind of surprised me. It almost, and I don't want to be over dramatic, right? I don't want to be like grasping at straws here, but it almost feels like this fan base, at least a portion of it, has started to turn on GG Jackson. Am I overreacting to what I've seen on social media? Am I being over dramatic? Just based off what I've seen, that's what it feels like. I think when you combine the post-game antics or the post-game comments from a week or so ago with his play of late, the criticisms of GG Jackson have been much more harsh than I ever could have expected. Truly. I mean, I think that's my big takeaway to this point, because when you look at this season as a whole, guys, unfortunately, if you're still following along and you're looking at this team and you're looking at this season through a critical eye, there's not a whole lot of positives. I mean, there's just not. There's just not. We all expected it to be a really tough year. We did. But I don't even think we all expected it to be this tough. Like, you're probably not going to win a game on your home floor this season. You might, but you're probably not going to, right? And, we projected about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 SEC wins, right? And that's probably where you're going to land. But the energy towards GG Jackson was just something that I was not expecting, right? But to be fair, has he brought it on himself? I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's unfortunately one of those things, guys, that I don't just want to block out basketball and not talk about basketball anymore. But it's also something where it's like there's literally nothing positive to say. So why would we continue to beat a dead horse? Why would you continue to harp on it? Because it feels like at some point you're like, dude, you literally are just beating a dead horse. It's there's nothing good to say about it, right? So. Bruin Nation, you still got 2 morons with a wannabe voice saying it's Lamont's fault. I think that, listen, it very well may be Lamont's fault, Bruin Nation. It might be, but we're not going to know that for a couple of years, right? If Lamont gets a quality roster and things still suck, right, then you can start to look at coaching and say, okay, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing. But this year, with this roster and what he's got to work with, I just don't know how you can hold Lamont Paris accountable. I really don't. Let's jump to the phone lines, guys. Here we go.
Hello, what's up?
Skyland, what's up, man? How are you?
You think I wasn't going to call in today?
I didn't know, my friend. I was hoping to hear from you, but I didn't know. What's going on?
Last day without college baseball.
It's crazy to think, man. Last day without college baseball until literally the end of June, right? I mean, not just South Carolina baseball, but college baseball as a whole. Last day without it until midsummer. That's a great feeling, man. That's a great feeling. So really, really looking forward to it.
Anytime this weekend, or you just want to save your money and go to Clemson? What you gonna do?
I don't know. I don't know yet if I'll catch a game this weekend. I will not be there tomorrow. Once I figure out my plans for sure, I'll let you know. I mean, I'm pretty wide open Saturday and Sunday. I could head down and catch a game, but at minimum, we'll be watching, no doubt. But excited, man. Pumped for opening day. Pumped to get this thing rolling. And I think it's a big weekend. I tell you, Skylam, and I'm sure you'll agree, coming into last year, I was just looking back at what the Gamecocks did against UNC Greensboro. You won 9-7 on opening day. I forgot it was that close. You lost the second game, and then the third game, you should have lost. Andrew Reister had that big grand slam. You won on a walk-off. And, last year I would have given you, and I did give you the benefit of the doubt. Hey, just win 2 out of 3. As long as you're winning series, who cares? Scores don't matter in baseball. Their style points aren't a thing. I look at the non-conference through a much more critical eye, I think, than I did a season ago, because the issues that I ignored against the UNC Greensboros of the world and some of those non-conference series, those turned out to be characteristics of that ball club all year long, right? So yeah. I think not just winning, but we need to leave the weekend against UMass Lowell saying, South Carolina was just far and away the better team, right? I mean, and I know that sounds like no duh, but it shouldn't be a weekend in which you feel like, well, we won because of smoke and mirrors and, thank God UMass Lowell couldn't hit, or thank goodness we ran into some really easy pitch. You see what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be a weekend like that. And I think it's just so important for this ball club to make a statement, on opening weekend in such a pivotal season for Mark Kingston and the entire program. So,
yes, I recall last year me and you got in a little altercation. I don't know if you want to call it that, but you did not agree with what I was saying, and you didn't believe in what I was saying because I think your passion for Gamecock baseball didn't want you to believe what I was saying last year.
That's a fair way to put it. That is a very fair way to put it, my friend. You called it last year. You called it. You said that we were going to stink. It was an unpopular opinion. We stunk. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We stunk. So
it ain't always good to be right. You know what I'm saying?
No, I trust me, my friend. I feel it all the time. I pick us to lose more than anybody. So I mean, I totally get that. I don't know what just I don't know what just happened with Skyland, but Skyland, if you'd like to call back in, my friend, would love to hear from you. 843-790-3377. Would love to have you call back in. I don't know what just happened or why we lost him. But anyways, let's see. Back into your questions, John Edward says, I know LSU is bad. It's just hard to give our team the benefit of the doubt on Saturday. Yeah, John Edward, again, LSU has lost 13 straight games. They have not won a game in the calendar year 2023. I mean, you could say, well, they're due, but it will be embarrassing, I think, if you lose that game. All right, let's get him back on the line. Skyland, what's up, man? I don't know why we just lost you, but what's going on?
I guess because I'm in Chesney, where I live, but I should be good now.
Gotcha.
But we both know it ain't always good to be right.
No, for sure. I mean, listen, winning is much more fun and admittedly is better for business. I'd rather us win every single game. Trust me.
I'm not going to knock on UMass Lowell. I'm just not that type of person. They did have a losing record last year, but they are predicted to finish second in their conference this year. But, I mean, even if they're predicted to win their conference, a team like UMass Lowell that's not even practiced on their home field yet because of the cold and the snow and the stuff up there, even if they're predicted to win their national championship, it should still be not no competition for the Gamecocks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, again, listen, I've picked the sweep. I think anything less than a sweep will be a cause for concern, to be honest with you. And I think that's what's, Skyland, early in this season, I talked about the non-conference and, I'll be keeping, and I think we all are keeping a much more critical eye on it this year because it's like you're looking for those first signs of trouble. And I hate to say it that way, but I think the goal early on is to separate yourself from what happened last year, right? Like that's why you need a hot start. You do. You need a hot start to make us feel good that, okay, some of the shenanigans that took place last year, the inexcusable losses, the bats just going ice cold for an extended period of time, those are not going to be things that carry over into this season. But you look at UMass Lowell, I mean, they've got some dudes, man. They've got some dudes. And I don't know, Skyline, if you heard me talking about it earlier, man, but, you look at the numbers, crazy stat. They stole 134 bases last year. And Jacob Humphrey returns. He had 46 stolen bags. I think it'll be a great test for LeCroy, Messina, French, whoever, whenever they're behind the dish.
Yeah, that's the thing because I've given out so many lineups. I don't know which one to go out with because they're changing so much stuff day by day. Like they'll say, I want to go with this, or they'll say, I want to go with that. Or some guys are struggling. They want to put LeCroy in left instead of catcher. Like LeCroy wants catcher to third to left. Like it was nothing. They're just trying to find somebody to play somewhere so they can get the best 9 bats on the field. And I feel like that's a good thing to get the best 9 bats on the field. But I feel like at South Carolina, you should have guys with the best 9 bats at their own position at South Carolina. You shouldn't have to move a LeCroy all over the field just to find a way to get him in the lineup or get the best 9 in the field. Like I want to go back to where Marzilli was in right or center. Morales was at third, Walker was at first, Wingo was at second. You know what I'm saying? Like those were set guys at their position that can hit without having to move.
Well, we lost Skyline again. Here we go, guys. By the way, quick update. David Cloninger tweeting this out. Mark Kingston previewing the start of the season. Let's see. No opening day lineup at this point. He'd say most of the predictions out there are mostly accurate. Could still be a couple of changes. There's no publicly released lineup, that is, which makes a lot of sense. Kingston says Jack Mahoney's last outing was very impressive, up to 97 miles an hour. He's still improving from Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, but he earned the Sunday starting role. Everybody earns their spot every week. Kingston, 8 games in 10 days. They know the starters this weekend, but roles after that will be determined by how the bullpen does this weekend. Hicks and Jerzenbeck could be in those midweek roles this week, per Mark Kingston. Again, Kingston speaking right now to the media. I'm excited, man. I love it. I love counter baseball. I love college baseball as a whole. It's one of my favorite times of year, if not my favorite time of year. People ask me all the time, what's your favorite to cover? Listen, there's nothing like a Saturday in the fall in South Carolina. There's nothing like a game day, right? But Carolina baseball special. I love it. And again, so we will do something special content-wise tomorrow. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but I want to do something. I want to do something special. We'll figure out what it is. Again, guys, 843-790-3377. Skyline, if you can, call back in. We'd love to have you. Let's see. KFC says, I cannot watch baseball. It's so boring. It's like watching grass grow. And listen, KFC, I won't take offense to that. For some people, baseball's not it, right? Baseball's just not it. And hey, even as someone like myself that played it, sometimes I'm sitting down, I'm like, God, this is a boring game, right? But you do have to appreciate the beauty in the game, the art in the game, and there's no matchup like the matchup between a pitcher and a hitter. There's just nothing better. Let's see. I don't know what John Edward was talking about. Joseph says, baseball's an art. When you set your expectations clear, you'll be able to enjoy baseball, appreciate it, because it isn't football or basketball. Baseball is the most complex and beautiful game in the world. At the same time, it's so simple. See ball, hit ball. Indeed. Listen, I agree with that. And, again, baseball is not for everybody. It is what it is. Okay, listen, I'm not a basketball guy. I don't love basketball. I love the Gamecocks. And so I like watching South Carolina basketball, but I'm not a huge basketball guy. It is what it is, but I can watch it. But, yeah, I it to enjoy it, right? Especially if you're there in person. So it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. Travie, why don't we air Kingston like we do Beamer? Because, Travie, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think Kingston's pressers are live. Yeah, they don't do Kingston's press conferences live. That's why. Yeah. None of Kingston's pressers are live. They are all after the fact, Travie. That is why we do not. If they did that, I would air them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Skyland says he wants to give his prediction. Gamecocks sweep, but we make it hard on ourselves offensively. We will have a game where we struggle to win and get runs, and have a game where we score some runs and where they help walk us and make errors. I think that's fair. Yeah, I've got the Yardcocks sweeping as well. I think it'd be a massive disappointment if they didn't sweep, truly. John Edward, this is one of my favorite times of year in sports, the heat of the college basketball season, college baseball, MLB, spring training, and NASCAR starting up. John Edward, I got to be honest, NASCAR is one thing I've just never gotten into. I'm not a NASCAR guy at all. I'd rather go play golf. They're all due respect, and I'm not like a NASCAR hater or anything, but there are many, many other ways I'd rather spend 3 to 4 hours of my life. But I will say this, going to a NASCAR race is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Travis says, what year was Ricky Williams? He's got more eligibility. I don't know exactly what year he was. I think he's like a sophomore or something like that. Maybe a junior, but he's got a couple more years. So minor setback for a major comeback. I would expect Ricky Williams back in Garnet and Black next year, and should be a big piece for us. So, yeah, it's unfortunate the injury happens, but, is what it is. Let's see. Tennessee has released a starting lineup. I don't think the Gamecocks released a graphic like Tennessee did with the projected starters, if you will. No, I don't think we did. I'm just looking at our notes here. Let's see. We've sold out Founders Park 56 times. How about that? That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, there is no projected starting lineup, excuse me, for us. So let's see. God, do I have it on Do Not Disturb, Hunter? Yeah, Hunter, I'm taking calls. I don't know why it wouldn't. Phone lines are wide open, Hunter. Phone lines are wide open. You're more than welcome to call in, my guy. I don't know why it would have. Yeah, I see a missed call, but it didn't ring. It didn't ring, my guy. So try to call back in. I want to make sure it's working. We're not on Do Not Disturb here. So you should be good. Yeah. The phone lines are indeed wide open. My phone's not on Do Not Disturb. Yeah. Call in. Call in, my dude. Call in. My phone's messing up? I don't think there's anything wrong with my phone. I don't think. Guys, we'll go ahead and jump into a break. I'll try to play with the phone on my end. I don't think anything should be wrong, but we'll get this figured out. I definitely want to hear from you all. Again, 843-790-3377. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side of the break. You're tuned in to the Daily Crush. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377 here on this Thursday, February the 16th, 2023. Again, appreciate you all tuning in, guys. If you'd like to try to call in, please do so. I was playing around with some of the settings on the phone lines, which I don't know how anything would have been messed up at all. Yeah. So if somebody wants to try to call in, 843-790-3377. Here we go. Okay. Looks like the phone lines are now working again. Here we go. Let's jump to it.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. What about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking what's going on.
Yeah, so how was your trip?
It was awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. First time I've skied since I was like 14 years old. So had a blast though, man. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Again, I went up to Beach Mountain, absolutely love it. So love the area, love getting up there. But no, it was a blast, man. I appreciate you asking. Got to see snow, which was really cool. But yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, no, I seen the pictures you were golfing and all, and I haven't golfed in a long ass time. I mean, if I were to go golfing now, it'd probably be a golf range.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm definitely in the golf mode. I don't know if it's my phone, guys. I don't know what's going on. Hunter's call just dropped also. So I don't know what's going on. Hunter, if you want to call back in, you're more than welcome. I didn't touch anything, so I don't know what just happened. Here we go.
call from
Hunter, was that you
Sorry
or me,
about
my
that.
guy?
No, I think that was my phone. My internet does that shit. I mean,
Okay.
every time I'm on the game, it lags all the time.
I got
But
you.
yeah. Like I said, I haven't played golf in a while. If I'm going to go golfing now, it's probably going to be the golf range, just because it's much easier. I don't know how y'all do that shit, because I tried swinging a golf ball and that shit's hard. So
Yeah, dude, I've been playing golf, man, since I was a little kid. It's a very, very hard game. It is a very hard game.
yeah,
It's a very hard game for sure.
yeah. Last time I've been golfing was at a country club, and it was really, really hard. And yeah, I just need a little bit more practice. What you think about the Super Bowl and the halftime show?
The halftime show, Rihanna. I thought Rihanna was great. First time she's performed, I believe, in quite a while. So was really cool to see. You forget how many hits Rihanna has, truly. I thought the Super Bowl was great. It was a fun game. Great game. That's as closely as I've watched the Super Bowl too in quite a while. But I
thought the Eagles were going to dominate for sure.
Yeah, it was a weird game because it felt like the Eagles did dominate for a lot of it, but that fumble that Hurts had proved to be costly, and their defense just could not get a stop against Patrick Mahomes. But the Super Bowl was cool. I mean, it's always a cool thing, always a lot of fun. The Chiefs have built a dynasty, but I'm just excited now, man, that we're moved into baseball season. We're moved into baseball.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, with all the NFL going on and shit like that, you kind of wish football was all over and kind of get tired of it.
Yeah, something like that, for sure.
Do we have any more people committing for 2023, or is that it?
I'm not exactly sure. In regards to upcoming, no, I think that the 2023 class is finished. Unless we're picking up transfer portal guys, the 2023 class is done, as far as I know. So
okay. Okay, so I don't have to keep looking at the prospects or anything like that. All right.
Yeah, 2023 is in the
Sounds
books.
good. Yeah, I didn't want to keep you hanging, so I appreciate it.
Hunter, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the call.
No problem.
Yeah, man. Great stuff. Great stuff from Hunter as always. Brian Dean, Chris, spring football's around the corner. My goodness, my friend. Opening day eve, talking about spring football. No, it is. It is. You're right. Listen, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll when spring ball, is about to start, we'll do our full spring practice preview, top position battles to watch. There's not really a lot that comes from spring practice other than a few coaches' quotes here and there. I mean, we're not out there watching practice, obviously. Of course, it'll all culminate with the spring game, but it's exciting. I know, Brian, it's exciting for sure, but yeah, I would imagine. I mean, they'll start practice probably in a couple weeks. It'll come around before you know it. It'll be here before you know it for sure. Again, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Looking forward to opening day tomorrow, of course. Glad we were able to take your call. I thought that was going to be me, but apparently Hunter's phone messed up on his end. So, anyways, y'all want to continue to call in? The phone lines are indeed open. I saw Robbie Davis tried to chime in. We missed him. Got to get Robbie Davis in here, man. Got to get Robbie Davis. Let's see. Is my audio cutting out a bit? Is it cutting out? Chase said it was. I don't know, man. The hackers are working hard today. I don't know. It's you take a couple of days off. I don't know. The technology itself is rusty, I guess. I have no idea. So, Hunter Kelly, the spring game, April the 15th, my guy. April the 15th. They announced a time, but it is April the 15th. Jesse Jacobs looking at possibly 9-0 or 8-1 start, going to homestand against Clem Sucks. Can't wait. Yeah, I mean, you should get off to a hot start in the season, guys, but 8 games in 10 days. How about that? You love that. You love it. And isn't it crazy that, I mean, the season gets real very fast, right? You've got UMass Lowell for 3, Winthrop Queens, Penn for 3, North Carolina A&T in the midweek, and then guess what? The rivalry series is here, right? So it's a lot of fun, man. And listen, I love it. I love it. 8 games in 10 days. Hey, what does that mean? Content bleeding out of the eyeballs. Truly. How about that? You love that. You love that. Anyways, guys, let's see. Brian Dean, GG Jackson may be back one more season. He doesn't look NBA ready. I would be shocked if GG Jackson's back next season. I'd be shocked. I mean, the whole reason he came to South Carolina was to be one and done. That's why he came here. So color me shocked if that's the case, if he returns, especially with how the season's gone. And I think he's done, man. I just, I think he's done. And, it's, we appreciate him coming here. It's one of those things that hopefully you can use in recruiting and what have you, but, the season has been what the season has been. Let's see. Mark Kingston continuing to speak. Let's see. Kingston says, good God, competition is high and will always be high, but starting tomorrow, half the guys that got to play every day in practices will be told they're not playing. There could be a lot of platooning in the early weeks, which is literally what I said I did not want to happen. Platooning. Good God, my least favorite word. Kingston, Alex Boychuk will coach first base. Scott Wingo at third. The roster is down to 35 players. Connor Furham is about to have a knee procedure, so he won't be available. That waiver gets the roster down to where they didn't have to cut anybody. How about that? Wow. Kingston on UMass Lowell, team that was 1 win away from the regionals last year, stole a lot of bases, moved their closer into the rotation. Let's see. Jacob Compton wearing a back brace. Kingston's hoping a month from now he's swinging the bat a bit. Too soon to tell right now. That's one of your big transfers, too, from Memphis. Jacob Compton. Tippett and Petrie are 2 freshmen who you'll hear about and see about early. Let's see. Will Sanders only wearing one leg of his tights for media day. I don't know why David Kloniger thought that was notable. Sanders saying, quote, last year was not what any of us want. No kidding. No kidding. No kidding. Let's see. Gad says, Robbie, the Zach Sauce champion. Indeed. He says, by the way, Hogwarts Legacy worth all of the hype. I hear you, Gad. I just can't bring myself to buy it, man. I'm not a huge gamer like that. And I don't think I'd put the time into it, and I don't really want to put the time into it like that, man. I'm just, again, admittedly, I'm not a huge gamer at this point. I've got so many other things going on, and I just don't really find myself or see myself having time to just sit down and game for hours on end. So I don't know, though. It looks like a dope game. I would like to play it, but I don't really want to buy it, I'll be honest with you. Let's see. Brian Dean says Frank Martin is in 14th place in the A10. Paris doesn't look like a bad hire. I did not realize UMass was having that bad of a season. What conference are they in again? What conference is UMass in? The A-Sun or something like that? What conference? That's crazy. I did not realize UMass was struggling to that degree. Yeah, the A-10. Yeah. They are literally at the bottom. 4-10 in conference play, 13-13 overall. They've lost 5 in a row. How about that? They have lost 5 in a row. Bruin Nation, what is the gout? What is that? What is the gout? Brian Dean, I'm anxious to see Braswell play. Yeah, for sure. I wonder how they're going to handle that because I don't think he's going to be your opening day third baseman, Brian. I don't think he's going to be an opening day starter, which I know it's tough to comprehend after last year, but I don't think it's going to happen, right? I think that, Mark Kingston pointed out some guys that last year were sort of no-brainer starters that were in the lineup every day. They're not anymore, just due to competition and due to other guys stepping up, if you will. So, yeah, I don't know how much. We're gonna see Brazzy, no doubt. We're gonna see Brazzy, no doubt. But David Cloninger, I don't know what's going on with him right now. He says he tweeted this. Will Sanders, I remember the 7th pitch of last year. Prez Kavanaugh hit a home run off a changeup on a 1-1 count. Then the quote says, "I'm just anxious to get out there and wear some well-fitted pants." How does that go to get? Am I reading things correctly? That is the weirdest tweet. I don't know. Either way. Oh, a serious form of arthritis. Okay, I did not know what gout was. I did not know that. Okay, you learn something new every day, I guess. I did not know what gout was. Anyways, guys, by the way, we've got JC Sherbert coming on the show at 1:15. I almost forgot to tell you guys. 1:15, we've got JC Sherbert. So if you want to get your calls in, do it now. We'll have him on from 1:15 to about 1:45 or so. Get your calls in now. Get your calls in now before we have JC Sherbert on the show. It's crazy, man. I'm just getting back in the swing of things, and I almost forgot we had JC on. Almost forgot we had JC today. Of course, I went on Inside the Gamecocks this morning at 11:30. Really appreciate those guys, everything that they do. They had a big-time combo this week with Monty Lee on their show. They've also had Mark Kingston on their show. So really, really good stuff. Really awesome stuff. But, yeah. Let's see. Austin Greer, let's not drop every midweek again this year. Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I think Austin, that's where the biggest improvement's going to be when you've got guys like Jerzenbeck and Hicks pitching in the midweek, right? And that's just when you're playing Tuesday, Wednesday. Most weeks you're going to just play Tuesday. And when you've got a guy like Jerzenbeck and just the depth, right? The depth that you have in the bullpen and in your pitching staff. And I talked about this last night in a clip that I posted. I think that's where you're going to see the biggest improvement. I think that I don't know if this team's going to be that much better in SEC play, but I don't think you're going to lose some of the inexcusable games you lost last year. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're not going to lose a midweek game. It's going to happen. It's baseball. Right? It would be damn impressive to not lose one of them, but you do play UNC. Charlotte's a good ball club, and hell, I mean, you can't we can't take the midweek for granted. We haven't earned that right. We really haven't. We haven't earned the right to take the midweek for granted. After you lose to the Citadel, Presbyterian, USC Upstate, right? I mean, the list goes on and on of all those midweeks you lost last year. So, but I do think you'll see improvement there. You know, I think that's why you're going to see a 6 or 7, maybe 8 win improvement. I think it's going to come in the midweek. I think you know, the SEC is going to be a grind yet again. I think 500 or better is a fantastic record. I don't think you're to the level yet of the Tennessees, the LSUs, even the Floridas, the Vandies. If you will, I think being picked 4th in the SEC East is the right prediction. I think it is. I think it's fair. And I think all things considered, guys, I think the Gamecocks are getting a fair amount of hype. You know, all things considered to what this team has been under Mark Kingston and their lack of hitting, if you will. I mean, I think being ranked in the preseason top 25 and being picked where we are and being picked to go to the postseason, I mean, I think it's, you know, I think we're getting a pretty good bit of hype for a team that was so bad last season. So, anyways, guys, we got JC Sherwood coming at 1:15. You want to get your calls in, be sure to do so now, 843-790-3377. Robbie Davis texting in. Robbie Davis, no call from Robbie, he's just texting in today. Says, what's up, Chris? Robbie Davis, I think we take 2 out of 3 this weekend. I wanted to pick us a sweep, but I just couldn't do it solely based off of what we did last year. Go Yardcocks. Okay, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Brian, Upstate beat us down last year. I mean, it just, at that point, man, and when the season last year got so out of control, I mean, it was tough. It was tough. Anyways, guys, really excited for tomorrow. Game day eve, opening day eve, if you will. Podcast, of course, dropped this morning, episode 760, our first series preview of the 2023 season. Also, guys, I just got an email from my dude, AUPPL. All those in the Big Cock Club Discord, you will see the series graphic this afternoon before everyone else. And, of course, we will post it on social media tomorrow morning. Really excited for that. Always love posting those, man. It's a great time. And, yeah, excited for it for sure. Let's see. Robbie Davis picking the Gamecocks to win 2 of 3 this weekend against UMass Lowell, which I think would be a disappointment. I'll be honest with you. Brian Dean, SEC Network Plus is where you can watch all the games. SEC Network Plus is how you can tune in, so you will need the ESPN app. Austin Greer says, feel like the hype for Braswell plummeted late in the season. Well, yeah, Austin, I mean, he had SEC play and struggled, which is you know, I think is normal. I think it's normal for a freshman. I don't think that's an, you know, abnormal thing. But, you know, that's why a lot of hype did plummet. And I think also, too, Austin, as the season, you know, spiraled, right, the hype plummeted because people stopped talking about baseball. People just stopped caring. I mean, really, truly, I think that's what happened. So, anyways, you know, it was just one of those things that it's when you're bad in baseball, man, it's a long, long season. I mean, it's a long, long season. So, let's see. See, Youngblood, appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Todd Smith, what's going on, my dude? What's going on? I'm trying to pull up here. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the... I just minimized everything. Let's see. Pull up the scores. Here we go. So it all gets going tomorrow at noon, by the way. And we're just talking top 25 here. Okie State, Missouri at noon. Virginia Navy at 1 o'clock. Texas Tech, Gonzaga at 2. I could probably just pull up the SEC. Because that's really what I want to see. Mississippi State, VMI at 3. Georgia, Jacksonville State at 3. Elon and Kentucky at 4. Of course, we play at 4 o'clock. How about TCU Vandy in that tournament they're in at 4 o'clock? Some late games tomorrow night. Tennessee, Arizona at 8. Texas and Arkansas. There's some great baseball, man. There's some absolutely great baseball taking place this weekend. And that, you know, right? I mean, I tell people that's the thing that separates, I think, baseball from other sports is, you know, I like watching football I don't watch any other basketball outside of South Carolina. I could watch other teams play baseball and be just content, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a blast. Yeah, it moves the needle for me. So Todd Smith says, how was the ski trip? It was fun. Todd, it was a blast. Thank you so much for asking. We had a great time. Brandon Kuhn, happy 38th birthday to you, my friend. Appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, Todd, the ski trip was incredible. It went better than I could have even planned. We had a great time. Looking forward to going back, honestly. Skiing's a really, really good time. Love it. I definitely biffed a couple of times, which again in the ski community means that you ate shit. So as I was working on my skiing, I definitely hit the pavement a few times, but that's the fun of it. Hey, the fun of it is that it's a challenge. So I had a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you for asking, Todd. Austin Greer, Braswell hit 447 as a senior in high school. Yeah, I mean, Austin, all the big-time D1 guys. I mean, if you're playing college baseball, you're tearing up high school pitching, and you're dominating high school hitters. That's a normal thing, right? That's a normal thing for sure. So, yeah. Anyways, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. We've got Jason upcoming at 1:15. He will join us for the next 30 minutes or so till about 1:45. Really looking forward to chatting with him and appreciate those guys over at Inside the Gamecocks having me on their airways. Guys, it just feels so good to be back, truly. As I mentioned top of the show, it's such a blessing that, we do something to where, when I go on vacation, go out of town, a lot of times I take it with me, right? We'll do the live show remote, which I think the next time I go, I probably will do that. But, it's such a blessing to do something where, it's good to have balance. It's good to detach and do different things and get out of the routine, right? Just knock the senses and, remind yourself that there's life outside of the routine that you set. But it's such a blessing to come back and to be excited, chomping at the bit to get after. And every single time I take a couple of days away, that's how I feel. And it's all because of you guys and the love and the support and what we built here with TSUS. And, I just truly have a love and a passion and a fire for this and what we do. And, I'm truly grateful for that, man. That's a blessing in itself. That's truly a blessing in itself. And again, I appreciate you guys. And I was just thinking too, it's crazy that, there used to be a point in business that we did not do the Daily Crow. It was just the podcast. And now I just can't picture life without it, not doing TDC. It's like, you have this desire to do that. You know what I mean? So, that's a blessing. Again, that's a blessing in itself. And I'm truly grateful for each and every single one of you and you guys and what you've made TSUS, what it is, what it's becoming. It's all because of your love and your support. And I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. That being said, guys, we are going to jump into a break. On the other side, we got my good friend JC Sherbert of the Big Spur. He will join us for another fantastic conversation, guys. All that and more on the other side of the break. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back Thursday, February the 16th, 2023. Again, guys, thank you all so much. Appreciate you all tuning in. It feels so good to be back and chatting with you all here on this opening day eve as the 2023 baseball season will officially get going tomorrow at Founders Park. 4 o'clock first pitch set for Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and 1:30 on Sunday, I believe. All games being streamed on SEC Network Plus. Of course, we're going to go ahead and get into it. He joins us every single Thursday to break down Gamecocks athletics. JC Sherbert of the Big Spur of Inside the Gamecocks. And, of course, I go on his show every single Thursday as well, 11:30 a.m. JC, appreciate you having me on. And appreciate you taking the time to conversate today, my friend. Great to see you once again.
Yeah, great to be with you guys. And good to always enjoy Thursdays, man, because we get this double dip thing going on, and it's a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a blast for sure, JC. And of course, on the show, we talk primarily Gamecocks, but I got to get your thoughts. You know, while I was out of town, I felt like some news that shook up Gamecock Nation, if you will, just because of previous ties. Mike Bobo promoted to OC at the University of Georgia. I understand it's about the Jimmies and Joes and not the X's and O's. And there's a lot of familiarity there. He's been the offensive coordinator at Georgia before, but were you surprised at all? And I guess just your overall thoughts. Again, this is something that did move Gamecock Nation just because of the ties, and maybe disdain's too harsh of a word, but just the feelings around Mike Bobo. Your overall thoughts on that move and Kirby Smart's staff.
I'll say this about Mike Bobo. I understand people, you know, they were a little butthurt, I guess, lack of a better term, you know, about how he left. I mean, that was a tough deal. It was tough for Shane Beamer. It led to the Marcus Satterfield era. You know, so obviously, you know, I think had Bobo stayed, South Carolina's probably better on offense the last 2 years, more consistent at least. I thought the job he did at South Carolina, considering what he had to work with. I mean, that year, the Gamecocks were just lean at receiver. You know, you had to start Colin Hill, and I think we all kind of figured out after the fact why. You know, Helinski couldn't do it, for lack of a better term. You know, it was just a tough year. You know, then you get fired in the middle of the Muschamp gets fired in the middle of the season or whatever. So that part of it, you know, I understand people were a little upset with how he left. Am I surprised? No, I think that when you look at what Kirby Smart's been doing, you know, bringing BMAC back, for example, to coach, you know, bringing Muschamp back. He's the D coordinator now. I mean, they kind of got the band back together, to be honest. If you think all three of those guys played at Georgia at the same time, Kirby, Will, and Mike, and they all know each other, they're buddies and stuff. And so I think it's very much a Dabo Swinney type approach at Georgia with regards to what you know, what Kirby's been doing hiring wise lately. You know, I think that you know, he's working with people, you know, that he's familiar with, and he's earned that right. I mean, you know, they've been the best team in college football the last 2 years. It's going to be hard, as much as I do like Mike Bobo and his play calling. People always talk about the 2014 game in Columbia and the play call. You know, they were running it up Carolina's butt, and then, you know, he called the pass play. It didn't work. But if you think about it, that guy was wide open. I mean, Hudson Mason just kind of one-hopped it out there because one of the Dixon boys got free and got after him, but the play was wide open. So I've always thought he's a pretty good play caller. It's just going to be so hard because Todd Monken, the guy that just left for the Ravens, I thought he is, as a play caller, has been in the zone the last 2 years. I mean, you talk about a team in Georgia that's 4 deep at running back most years. He knows how to, you know, use all those guys without being predictable. Their offense this year was very horizontally, I guess, figured. You know, that they attacked the perimeter a lot, which is a different kind of deal for Georgia. They didn't have great receivers on that team. They had great tight ends, but he somehow had a passing game that worked. Stetson Bennett was outstanding. It's just hard, you know, as much as I like Mike Bobo and think he's a really good play caller and a heck of a coach, it's just going to be hard to replace that. Plus, you got a new quarterback you got to break in, and Bobo certainly has coached that position before. You know, so I don't know that I was like A lot of Gamecock fans laughed about it. I don't know that was moved to laughter or anything. I kind of, I think that's kind of been what's been in the works. But it is from a competitive standpoint. I just think it'd be hard to replace what Todd Monken's done there the last 2 seasons specifically, no matter who you are. So I don't want to say. I've learned my lesson about saying Georgia's going to take a step back, right? But that's going to be tough to replace, and we'll see how it goes next season for them on offense.
Yeah, JC, on that note, I mean, again, it's weird to think that, man, the SEC East is wide open when Georgia's literally the back-to-back national champions. But I mean, do you kind of see it that way? I mean, is this as quote unquote wide open as it's been? I mean, I'm going to be picking Georgia to win the East. I don't think anybody's going to be bold enough to not pick the Dogs to go to Atlanta. But I mean, since I gave my way too early predictions, I mean, you think about what's happened. South Carolina picks up Nicholas Harbor. Spencer Rattler, Juice Wells are obviously back, but the Nicholas Harbor edition, plus, they lose Todd Monken. They're obviously going to be revamping at the quarterback position. They're going to have a lot to replace. Obviously, they're replacing these guys with elite talent, right? I mean, Georgia hasn't finished outside of the top 3 in recruiting in 7 or 8 years. But I don't know, Jason. It's going to be as interesting as it's been in a couple years because Georgia's just been so solid, kind of the same thing over the years. Now, I think this is the most adversity they've faced maybe, recently in the Kirby Smart tenure. And, whether it's South Carolina, it's Tennessee, or it's somebody else, I mean, it's not out of the question. I think Georgia might hit a road bump or two, or it might face some more adversity than they faced over the last couple of years. And maybe that's the Gamecocks in week 3 of the season. Maybe
so. I mean, Georgia's schedule, they had Oklahoma scheduled in week 2. And the league, obviously, I think kind of seeing the writing on the wall where Oklahoma was going to, and Texas were both going to come in 2024. I think Tennessee also had a game with Oklahoma that they canceled or moved or something because it's going to become a league game. So they got UT Martin and Ball State. Those are 2 powerhouses, right? And in the Gamecocks, and then UAB, they play at Auburn, who they've owned. Now, who knows if Hugh Freeze can't change that or not. Another road game's at Vandy. They play Florida, of course. From the other division, they get Ole Miss, but Ole Miss comes to Athens. And then the interesting game for me, they moved this Georgia-Tennessee game is in the same week as the South Carolina-Tennessee game was last year in Neyland, Saturday, November 18th. What used to be SoCon Saturday in the SEC. Now it's or Sun Belt Saturday, if you will. Now, I mean, that game could end up being for the East right there, 2 weeks before Atlanta. So it's an interesting schedule. I think it's backloaded, obviously, with some of the tougher games, except for South Carolina. But games that's got to go down there to Athens, where they've actually won more recently against the Bulldogs than they've won in Columbia. I mean, they won in Athens in 2019, obviously. But I don't know. In Georgia, it's going to be interesting, because they had just enough coming back this year with their defensive guys like Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith to where they survived losing those draft picks, right? They just reloaded. Mm-hmm. Well, now those guys are gone. And so you kind of wonder, I'm sure they'll be immensely talented, but will they be ready? Will they be as dominant? Will they be as locked in? Because they have faced some adversity and all that. But Georgia's going to be an interesting case study next year as far as, because everybody says that they're now Alabama. Well, Alabama just kept on going. Can Georgia do that would be the question that I would ask heading into next season. Yeah, with Bama, and I think what Georgia is trying to build, JC, it's almost like today's bench warmers are tomorrow's draft picks. That's generally how they operate. Yeah. So we will see if that continues. JC, let's move into a little bit of recruiting. I know it's sort of a dead period, but over the last couple of days, I've had my folks talking in the Big Cock Club in regards to some of the crystal balls that have been coming in for some high-profile prospects. And I know that a guy that you are really high on, and I've been asked about a lot, is Jonathan Paylor of the 9-5 composite. What can you tell us about him? And then just 2024 as a whole in recruiting. Again, I know it's a bit of a dead period right now. I think I saw Blake Franks
mentioned something with his recruiting, saying he's not committing on February the 20th. When he comes up with a date, he'll post it on Twitter. And, of course, Maz Bennett was in the comments section saying, hey, there's only one fan base commenting to you. It's South Carolina. Make the move. So, of course, the momentum is still there. But just overall, 2024 recruiting news or tidbits that you might have for us.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, they call him the missile. And it's how he plays. He's like a missile. Like he darts up and down the field. Elite speed. You can never have too many guys like that. He's built a little bit like Bruce Ellington, probably faster in a straight line. Probably has as much wiggle as Bruce too. Now that I think about it, but South Carolina, if you look at kind of, you're always looking at recruiting as making progress, right? Well, I thought that heading into the 2023 cycle, a good sign of progress was simply sign more blue chip high school players. More 4- and 5-star high school guys, just increase that number, and they did. And then 2024, you kind of look at it like, well, you need to do that again, and also, the state of North Carolina, which I've always kind of been of the belief the state of North Carolina is very important for South Carolina to recruit, and that's kind of a key to building this program and to maximizing it. This staff has done an amazing job, though, working around that. I don't think they signed a single guy from North Carolina this year by going into the DMV, working more north-south, working Miami to Maine, really, is South Carolina's primary recruiting area. And I think that's been smart. Well, now you look back at it, well, Paylor's a North Carolina kid, and they've got there's a D tackle out of the Concord, Charlotte area that they're in on. So you can kind of see that starting, them getting a little light at the end of the tunnel in that important state. So you start doing that, you continue to do what you're doing in the DMV, continue to dominate in-state recruiting. The players they recruit out of Georgia, I call them, they're tier 2, and I don't mean that as an insult. Like tiers are different than like rankings. Tiers mean, all right, these are the guys that are really, really good, and most of the SEC's offered them, but they're just below Georgia's offer pool because Georgia's kind of at this, or maybe they evaluate the kid and they're like, we like this guy better or whatever. Georgia can't take them all. So to get guys out of that state like Michael Smith, like Wendell Gregory, like the 7 guys they signed out of Georgia this past cycle, Trovon Ball, Jalen Kilgore, those guys, that's exactly what needs to be happening in that state. I like what they do in Florida. They get, athletes from there, guys that can play, guys that love the game, like you get from Florida kids. And you go into Jacksonville and you win a battle for Pup Howard, that kind of thing. And so you start to look at it, Chris, and Jonathan Taylor, yes, he's important because he's a missile and he's a receiver and he's a big play guy. He can return kicks, whatever. But to get him out of that state can start, sometimes players are kind of looking for permission to go to a school that may not be a blue blood. And I think it kind of gives maybe some North Carolina kids permission. Well, South Carolina's right here. Let's give them a look. Also, the area of North Carolina he's from the Piedmont, the Triad, basically, the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Burlington area. Burlington's right down, I-40 between Greensboro and Durham. That's not been a kind area, even when South Carolina was recruiting North Carolina heavily and well. That part right there, just those kids just tend to go to Clemson or North Carolina or Virginia Tech, wherever. And so getting a kid from there, I think, is an important thing as well. I think the last kids from that area Carolina got were the twins. Gosh, I forgot their names. One was a tackle, one was a center at Carolina during the Spurrier era. So, I think it's overwhelmingly positive, that momentum. You mentioned Blake Franks. I think South Carolina's in a good position there. I think they continue to be in really good shape with every kid they want in state. I think this class, Chris, you start kind of piecing together the numbers and you look at the guys that are leaning to Carolina. And we're not even in June yet, which is usually a heavy month for recruiting, and a lot of welcome homes that month, right? And you're like, man, this could legitimately be a top 10 recruiting class when all is said and done. Could. Can't guarantee that, but it could be. It's set up that way right now if this momentum continues.
And JC, you look at the 24 class, Pringle, Gregory Smith, Bennett, and Reno. Those are your 5 commitments right now. You sit obviously 6th in the country in recruiting. It's very early on. For the 2023 class, I'll ask you this, JC. Nicholas Harbor was the obvious, gem of your class, right? He was the dude everybody wanted. The class that almost felt kind of like it's centered around him. I mean, obviously he's just one of many great pickups, but do you feel like there's a guy like that in the 24 class? Is it somebody that's already committed? I mean, do you feel there's going to be that one guy that if you get him, that's going to be sort of the exclamation point that Nicholas Harbor was for 23?
Yeah, I would go with another kid from the DMV, and it won't be easy, to get this guy. There's a lot of competition, but they're right there. 5-star Dylan Stewart is a defensive end from up there in the DC area. I think South Carolina. That's a kid. His recruitment probably will go the distance, right, all the way till signing day. Probably, not a guarantee, obviously, but South Carolina has so much momentum in that area right now that they are a legit factor to sign him. And I think at the end of the day, you 5-star defensive ends, 5-star defensive end. You need to get the guys from Friendship Collegiate Academy in DC. I've been to that school. It's an interesting place, but they put out good players just about every year. 6'5", 235 pounds. That would be the guy right now I would point to and go, all right, that would be the cherry on top of Sunday, just like Nick Harbor.
For sure. It's going to be a lot of fun to follow. And, of course, the Gamecocks have as much momentum, if not more momentum, than anybody on the recruiting trail in college football. JC, let's move off recruiting and into this basketball team and what this season sort of is. Of course, a tough loss on Tuesday night. Gamecocks lose to Vandy by double digits in a game that I think you look down the schedule, JC, was probably one of the more winnable games left. I mean, of course, you go into this weekend against LSU, a team that has not won a game in this calendar year. The Bayou Bengals are on a 13-game losing streak. But just taking a look at really the last two, JC, I mean, you get a big road win, and then you lose to Vandy. But the theme in both those games, JC, more so importantly, I think, is G.G. Jackson and sort of his limited role, if you will. At one point was playing pretty much all of the minutes, right, was scoring in the double digits, upwards of 20 points, 20-plus points on a night-in, night-out basis. He's struggling of late. Just sort of what do you make of his recent struggles and South Carolina basketball as a whole? Obviously, we all know the reality of this season, and it's just sort of we're trying to limp to the finish line at this point. But, I think the bigger story is kind of G.G. Jackson. I think how Lamont Paris is handling that, which I actually applaud him for being willing to put his foot down and just do everything he can to put the best product out there. But just overall thoughts on kind of how it played out, because it's a really interesting story within a tough season for South Carolina men's basketball.
Yeah, I called it sad today on the show. This is the only word I can use to describe it. And I don't mean that in an overtly critical way. It's kind of just sad right now. You got a terrific player in G.G. Jackson that's not playing well. He's struggling. His body language is not good. He's not getting minutes. He's jacking up 3-pointers from everywhere, and that's not good sound basketball. Basketball's still a team sport. I think sometimes at the pro level, it can become an individual sport a little bit, but basketball's still a team sport. You got to play within yourself to make sure that you're giving your team and yourself the best chance to be successful, and that's just not happening right now. I don't know why this team struggles at home more so than on the road too. I mean, it's baffling to me. I'm pretty sure the environment at the Colonial Life Arena is lackluster at this point in the season, to say the least. But it's, I just think that it's sad. It's a sad situation to see right now, and I think it's very important that Lamont Paris and G.G. and everybody involved kind of get back on the same page and finish this thing out the right way, because you don't want a guy like that who could have gone anywhere in the country from the city of Columbia, from your backyard, to all of a sudden have a toxic experience overall and leave on a bad note, because that's going to hurt you in terms of convincing the next G.G. Jackson to come to South Carolina and stay at home. So I think that, you say it's 2-11 in the league. They're not going anywhere, but I do think these last 5 games, of the regular season are going to be important for, ancillary ways, in ancillary ways, ways that will impact the program long term. And hopefully they get it, kind of get it back together. But yeah, it was disappointing for me. I actually watched the game. I was kind of like, okay, well, good win at Ole Miss. Let's get, let's see what they can do here. And obviously, 18 points at halftime, down by 20. There's no chance you're going to win. That one after that. So I do think there's some things that have to happen with men's basketball here in the last home stretch of the season that could potentially be positive or negative for the program moving forward, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, and JC, I think you make a great point on GG Jackson's experience at South Carolina, because I think we were all just, at least I was just kind of looking at it as, okay, he came to South Carolina. That's a vote of confidence. That's a positive for the program. But if he doesn't have a good experience, and these guys all talk, right? All these players talk to each other. And, if GG Jackson, I'm not saying he's going to go out of his way to like rip the program or rip Lamont Paris, but if he's not promoting it and repping it to the way that you'd like him to, right? You didn't really get the positive out of him coming there, and it could be served or used against you as a negative. I think you're absolutely right. So rallying the troops a bit, if you will, in these last 5 games is super important. On a more positive note, JC, on the hardwood, I do think we need to take a moment to recognize Dawn Staley's program. My goodness. I mean, hey, the game of the year. No, it's not. The Gamecocks just dominate. Nobody can touch what they're doing. My question to you, JC, is simply this, and I don't want to put any jinx on or anything, but I mean, realistically, do you think there's anybody that's going to beat this team? Or could you see this team going wire to wire and finishing this thing off with a perfect record?
How about what if all right, so UConn had some injured players, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I haven't looked at their situation and see if they'll get anybody back or not. I would think that would be possible, kind of, if they were at full strength in a Final Four setting or something. But honestly, when this basketball team is on its A game and when they're out there, and they don't just, Chris, they're just so hard to beat because they're not only immensely talented, and they just have great players that they can run at you in waves. Dawn Staley preaches defense, and this her teams guard and defend and frustrate the what out of you, and they don't allow you to breathe, and so those types of teams are much harder to beat. I think than maybe a team that's a great shooting team or a skilled team that they go out there and have a bad shooting night and then they don't play much defense, and you can beat them if the other team's red hot. But Dawn Staley's team is just it's not only all the talent and all that they're throwing at you and the confidence and all that, it's the experience, blah 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 blah. It's the style of play too. I mean, because it is like putting your face in a grinder. I think to play against those girls in that sport, because they just don't let you up off the mat. So I would lean toward it's looking good, without jinxing it for this group to go undefeated and win its second straight national title right now.
Yeah, JC, I feel like at this point, if you're picking against South Carolina, you're just trying to make a point. Like there's no real reason to pick against them, right? I mean, it's until we see different. So I've said this before. Dawn Staley and her team, they truly are the embodiment of it feels good to be good, because they are the best, and it's not even remotely close. It's not even remotely close. Last thing, JC, and again, I appreciate you being gracious with your time every single Thursday. Of course, he joins us at 1:15. JC Shurburtt of the Big Spur of Inside the Gamecocks. We got to talk baseball, man. Opening day eve, and I know you guys have had Monty Lee on your show. Didn't Mark Kingston as well? I think Mark Kingston joined you. Yeah, so you've had
both
Kingston,
coaches,
you've had Monty Lee. As this 2023 season gets underway tomorrow, I'll just ask you just kind of your overall thoughts on what you've heard from those two guys and what this ball club is, and how you expect things to shake out in this season, just based off those conversations with both Kingston and Lee, if you will.
Sure. Kingston seemed pretty confident, kind of different than he normally, he was real relaxed. And, I think that when you look at the situation they had last year with the arms and all the injuries there, the one thing he did repeat over and over was, we have to stay healthy. We have to stay healthy. And obviously, after going through what you did last year, you're probably going to talk about that a bunch. But, the pitching staff's deep. The 3 starters. I mean, Sanders is probably going to be a first rounder. Noah Hall is one of the better pitchers in the SEC, and then Mahoney's back, and all three of those guys throw gas, man. I mean, it's like 96, 97. I don't know that there's a team in the country that has that kind of smoke on their pitching, the starting pitching. They'll figure out who the closer is going to be. I think one of the things that really was bad about last year was all the midweek losses to these, the Presbyterians of the world. Did they lose to Presbyterian? I think they did.
Yeah.
USC upstates of the world. That's going to change this year because you're not trotting out. You're going to be trotting out a guy or two in those midweek games that probably could be weekend starters in other programs. And so that's going to help. Now, the issue is going to be hitting. I don't know that this team, and like you mentioned earlier, on our show, a lot of new faces, a lot of guys that didn't really play a lot last year. Braylon Wimmer being the exception. And you got guys that have been around, but they all need to take a step forward. And talking to Monty Lee, I kind of got the impression from him, and what he was saying was it's going to maybe be a little bit of a work in progress, but they're going to try everything they can and get creative with it, because they don't really have a whole lot of power and stuff. They do have some speed. They can steal some bases, that kind of thing. And then the third part of it, I think this team this year is going to be a much better defensive team. Braylon Wimmer did not make an error the whole preseason. None. No errors at shortstop. Shortstop, second base, shortstop, right? For second base.
Yep.
He's in the middle of the infield. I'm not a baseball. I'm not a baseball expert. I'm a big fan of the game. But
he was at second last year. He is going to play short this year.
This year. Yeah. So that guy, that's very important because I don't think that the Gamecocks have been as good defensively as we've been accustomed to around here the last couple of years. So, we'll see what happens with that. I think, I thought, well, hey, they should sweep UMass Lowell this weekend until you came on the show and you started throwing all these stolen base numbers at me. I'm like, oh my God, this could be a really frustrating weekend if somebody on our show also said, well, the best way to keep them from stealing bases is don't let them get on base. So there you go. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out, especially now that, after what you said about UMass Lowell, I think that's kind of a neat kind of probably a different style of baseball than we're used to seeing coming from those guys. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But, I would be remiss if I sat here and said this team's going to knock it all over the yard and be this explosive, powerful offense. I think they're going to be – I think the question is, can they be good enough? Because the bottom line is winning and losing, whether it's 1-0 or 15-13. So I think that's just going to be the determining factor. Is this going to be a group that can go out and win a bunch of 4-2 games, 5-2 games, something like that, or are they going to be losing a bunch of 2-1s? That kind of thing. And so I think that's going to determine the success or lack thereof of the season.
Yeah, I think consistency offensively, JC, and again, like you mentioned, it's baseball. Some nights you're going to have to win the 2-1, but can you win a 9-8 game? I think that too. Can you hang around in those type of ball games? And obviously, I could go on and on for days, but I didn't bring up the UMass Lowell statistics to scare you at all because I think the Gamecocks should sweep as well. But it's just, these Northeastern teams, you don't think much of them, but they've got some ball players as well. But I do think it's a weekend that it's so interesting, JC, and it's funny. I've had this conversation with our good friend Brad Crawford, and Brad admittedly not a huge baseball guy, which is totally fine. But, there's a lot of people that don't keep up with it the way that some others do, that like they just can't compute how could a South Carolina lose to the Citadel or lose to Presbyterian or lose to USC Upstate. And it's because you can't bring the football school of thinking into baseball. Coastal Carolina won a national championship. That would never happen in football. But it's interesting, football style points matter. And I always say in baseball they don't, but it almost feels like, JC, that early on in this season, because of how pivotal of a season this is and how bad last year was, I think style points do kind of matter. I think, being able to hit the ball over the yard against this pitching, I think it's important because it's like if you can't do it in the non-conference, there's nothing that'll give you hope that you're going to have a successful SEC season.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think people would probably comfortable would be the right would be the description that I would use. Fans are going to be a lot more comfortable if the Gamecocks are, scoring 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs against these guys that the lower teams. And you know, hey, you may lose one or two along the way. That is baseball. But Ray Tanner's team in 2000 went 56-10, 50-6 in the regular season. One of those 6 losses was to Elon at home. People don't remember that, you know. So I think that team won 25 SEC games too. That's just that's the nature of the sport. You're never going to go undefeated and all that. But I do think our fans will be more comfortable heading into SEC play if this bunch, you know, does put runs on the board and the pitching is as advertised. And there are some, you know, style point type games. You know, when you got to win 10-0 or whatever. That's going to make people feel good. You know, heading into that what should be a very challenging, 30-game SEC schedule.
JC Sherwood of Inside the Gamecocks, the Big Spur. JC, I know you got to get out of here again. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much, and looking forward to doing it yet again next week, my friend, and looking forward to a fantastic baseball season as well, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Absolutely. JC Sherwood of Inside the Gamecocks joins us every single Thursday. Fantastic stuff. And, of course, I go on their show every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to talk all things South Carolina. And it'll be a lot of fun, guys, moving forward. I mean, it always is, but going on their show, now we're into baseball season, talking baseball each and every single week. Going to be a blast. Guys, that being said, we're going to jump into one final break. On the other side, I'm going to open up the phone lines. We're going to take your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 10 minutes or so here on the Daily Crow, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, thank you so much to J.C. Sherbert for taking the time to chat. Had an absolute blast conversating with him, and I appreciate him every single Thursday coming on the show. Getting back into your questions, Jeremy Wardell, I think he makes a great point here. He says they're trying to hit the same pitchers in practice that are throwing that gas that you were talking about. Yeah, Jeremy, listen, great point. Iron sharpens iron, right? When you look at, for example, this UMass Lowell weekend, I mean, you're not going to see any better arms than you faced in practice. You're just not, right? You're just not. And that's a luxury. I mean, you think about the 2010 team, the 2011 team, the arms they were facing in practice, right? And the way that helps you. So I think it is a big plus for sure. Let's jump back to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie Davis, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
You know, this is like the 6th time I've tried to call today.
My friend, I don't know
I must
what
have had
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with the phone line.
I don't know if it was something on your end or if it was my phone. So what I did while you was on break is I cut my phone off and then cut it back on. And now
Okay. Maybe it was you then. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear from you, my guy. What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to see you didn't break no bones on your ski trip. That's
I
a
did
good
not.
sign.
I did not. I fortunately enough did not.
If it would have been me, I probably would have. I'm just saying. I probably would have broke some bones.
Yeah. Well, we had a good time,
But,
and I definitely wiped out a few times, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
And I did something this weekend that you've been wanting me to do for a while.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I went and got me a pub sub, my guy.
Jeez, which one did you get?
I got the Italian.
Nice. Okay. And
It was pretty. It was, oh yeah. It was definitely worth it. That's for sure.
it'll make you never want to go to
Subway will no
Subway.
longer-
It'll make you never want to go to Subway again.
Oh no. If I go to Subway, I'm going to get cookies. Okay.
Okay.
The cookies are on point at Subway. Like I tell people all the time, I'm convinced that Subway puts crack in their cookies because of how good they are.
Mhm.
Okay. But anywho, yeah, I will definitely be going back to Publix for a pub sub.
Good man.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Heck, you're making me want one right now.
Oh man. Anyways, you understand why I picked us to win 2 out of 3, right?
I think it's fair. Yeah. I mean, I totally understand, man.
I mean,
you know, the struggles of last
like,
season are not that, I'm not that far removed from recalling that, right? Like I get it. I get it 100%.
Right. Now, I think honestly, if the season would have gone much better, I would have picked us to sweep. And now, am I going to be thinking to myself, we're going to sweep when tomorrow 4 o'clock rolls around and I'm listening to the baseball game? Yeah, probably. Probably. But excuse me. But I just, I think our pitching staff is much better than UMass Lowell or however you pronounce their school name or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care. Anyways,
And there goes Robbie Davis. Is it me? I don't think it's me. I'm not pressing anything. I'm not hanging up on people. And it's like the call is dropping. So I don't think it's me. I don't know. It's weird, man. Being back from out of town, it's almost like the technology is a bit rusty. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So Robbie Davis, if you'd like to call back in, my guy, you're more than welcome to. Austin Gregory, if we don't sweep UMass Lowell, is the series a failure in your eyes? I'll say this, Austin. That's a great question. Did you fall short of the expectation? Absolutely 100%. Am I going to sit here, Austin, and write off the rest of the season? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But I don't think it'll be a good sign, right? I don't think it'll be a good sign. I think it's important that you do sweep. All right, let's get him back on here.
Call from
Robbie, what's up? Sorry about that, my guy. I don't know what just happened.
I don't know what happened either.
I don't know, man. It's technology's great till it isn't. Anyways,
Anyway.
continue.
Where was I at whenever the call dropped? Do you remember?
You're going to be watching opening day. You're excited. You were just explaining why you picked 2 out of 3.
The reason why was solely because of the reason I picked this to take 2 out of 3 is solely because of how horrible we played in the midweeks last season. Even though, yes, this is a weekend series, I just don't see us. I see us winning Friday and Saturday and losing Sunday.
Losing Sunday. Okay. All right. That's fair. Robbie, listen, that's fair. That's fair. Listen, that's very fair. I don't blame anyone for coming into this season, a little hesitant to just dive all in and say, we're going to be great. There's real concerns. There's real questions. And when you just look at the Mark Kingston era and the way things have played out, I don't blame anyone for, for feeling a bit of concern.
Right. And am I hoping that we somehow turn it around and have a fantastic year? Absolutely. But the proof has not been in the pudding since Kingston has been our head man. We have not had great seasons since Kingston has been our head man, as far as I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we've struggled, a little bit in the non-conference. And I guess here's the interesting thing about it. Here's the interesting thing is that, if you see some of the issues that were so persistent a season ago, if you see those issues early on in this season, it's obviously going to be a really bad sign. Right. But just because, you could go undefeated in the non-conference doesn't really mean you're going to be a great team when SEC play hits. So, but you'd rather be on that end. Sure. You'd rather be going into SEC play with as much confidence as possible. I've already talked about why it's important to win the rivalry series this year after getting swept last year. But
that made me sick. That made me real sick.
You need to be going into SEC play with as much confidence as you can possibly build. So non-conference play is important, my guy. Midweek play is important. It's all important. And I don't know, there must be a balloon or something overhead jamming the phone lines. I don't know. Austin, there will be no extra hour today. I got to eat some lunch, my guy. Robbie Davis ain't the only one that's got to snack on some lunch. So I apologize, Robbie. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what's going on with the phone lines. I'm not even touching it. I'm not doing anything. The phone has a life of its own today. I have no idea. Either way, though, we have hit 2:00. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much to those who called in, you guys engaging, and, of course, JC Sherbert for joining us as he does each and every single Thursday. By the way, stay tuned. Looking to do some special things tomorrow for opening day. I will let you all know what the deal is and what we're thinking. Either way, though, guys, appreciate you all. Thank you all so much. Be sure to check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Check out TDC in podcast form. That will drop at 3:00 as well. And again, guys, it feels so good to be back chatting with you all. We'll be live as normal tomorrow, noon to 2, with, again, some special things in the works as well. That being said, appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will talk to you all